welcome to the PCSS Connection. I'm your host, Buddy Pearson. Well, on the show this week, we have former teacher and coach and now Future Ready Supervisor Sam Brooks. But first, we get to brag on our students. The Cane Creek Chorus performed at the Constitutional Dinner sponsored by the American Legion recently, and the National Commander was so impressed that he would like to feature the Cubs in their magazine. At an upcoming assembly, the American Legion will be going to Cane Creek to present all of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade CubChant chorus members with a certificate and have a plaque for the school. And joining us now is Cane Creek chorus teacher K through 4, Lori Sexton. And Lori, man, you have been getting some love from the American Legion. I mean, ever since you guys performed at the 9/11 ceremony and then at the Constitution Dinner, you have been impressing them very much so.
Well, I can't say that it's all about what I've done, but it's been my students. They are an amazing group of kids, and they enjoy just coming to sing, and they love to give back to people, especially when it's dealing with retired veterans or any of that nature. They do such an awesome job.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been at Cane Creek?
All right, so it'll be 11 years in January.
Wow, so, 11 years. Well, what brought you there to begin with?
Well, I was teaching in another county at the time, and I lived here, and I go to church here, and that's where everything is started. And so I was like, I really would love to teach in Putnam County schools. And I've always had that desire ever since I got out of teaching at Tech in 2005.
Yeah.
And so then I had a friend who had recommended me for the position at Cane Creek at the time and had let me know about it. And I was super excited about it. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I have to say that I was blessed to get the opportunity.
Now, have you always had a music background? Have you always loved music?
Yes.
Is this what you've always wanted to do?
So I made the decision when I was in 8th grade to become, I thought I was going to be a middle school band director, actually. Okay. And then I did my stuff at Tennessee Tech, my practicum work, and then my student teaching, and elementary was where my passion was.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your students and kind of, we've seen some video, we've seen some pictures of your performing. Just talk a little bit about, the chorus that you have.
Well, first of all, the chorus that a lot of you have saw, that's only part of them.
Okay.
So we have actually 153 kids, K through 4, in our chorus program.
That's awesome.
But in our first performance on 9/11, that we were so honored to get the opportunity. Ms. Kewen had said, hey, Ms. Sexton, would you think about doing this? And I was like, sure, our kids would love that. Yeah. And they love to perform. And so we got that opportunity, and then it went from there. And we had our 3rd and 4th graders on that day. And then for our Constitution Dinner, we had 2nd through 4th.
Wow.
And we had a great turnout of our students showing up. And just thanks to the parents for all their support, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do this.
And now the American Legion wants to bring certificates to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders that were there. Just what a treat for them.
Oh, yes. And one thing about our students at Cane Creek, they do it just for loving the thing of music. Yeah. But this part, they don't know all this is going to happen, so I can't wait when it does.
Now, how long have you been practicing? I guess since school began. How many times a week do you practice?
Oh, so we're blessed to actually get to rehearse Wednesdays during the school day during encore time. Okay. So we meet with each grade level, and it's a fantastic thing. Then also my kids meet once a month on a Monday.
Oh, awesome.
And at 7:15 in the morning to 7:45. So it's great.
Yeah. Now, do you have any concerts coming up? Do you have stuff planned for any of the holidays that are coming up?
Yes, we do. So the thing at Cane Creek, we love the Veterans Day program. Yeah. And that's the one
that's right.
I love it. It's our biggest one. And first of all, we would love any veteran that wants to come to the concert to come. We love to honor them. We give them a little gift bag, but it's our biggest concert. And so it has all of our ensembles, which we have 5 other ensembles besides chorus.
I know some schools are having Veterans Day programs on Friday, November 8th. Are you going to be doing it on that Monday?
As of right now, we are scheduled to do the November 11th, unless something else comes up.
Yeah, great. So when you were teaching them, what's some of the fundamentals? I mean, how do you get kids to want to sing and be in the chorus?
Well, first of all, I want it to be fun. You know, that's the first thing. And I just want to inspire them, showing them, first of all, we do some of the music they kind of like as well. They kind of get their, they can't be leaders in that. And just in general, they, it's not necessarily they'll be in there because they're friends, but then they start like, oh, I really like this. Yeah. And that's one reason we started at kindergarten, because when we first started, it was 1st through 4th. And then I was like, I want to build that foundation. and to give them that little bit of experience. And then when they're fourth graders going into middle school, that they will be even more prepared. Yeah.
So you've got them ready to go, because when they get to middle school, then they go into the high school and great things can happen.
Yes.
And you know, it's funny because I can remember Miss Hargis being my elementary school music teacher. I don't remember very many teachers from my elementary days. I don't remember much at all, but I remember my elementary music teacher.
And see, I think that is a wonderful thing in Putnam County Schools, that we are blessed to have one in every one.
Yeah.
I grew up in a county which I love, but we didn't have elementary music, but like once a week, sometimes once a month.
Yeah.
So until we got to middle school and high school. So
now, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a small town called Oneida, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
In Scott County, and I went to Oneida High School.
Okay.
I loved it. Wonderful people. So I always thought I might go back there, but then things happened and I stayed here. So.
All right. Lori Sexton, the music teacher with Cane Creek, talking about the chorus, and just a great job they've been doing. They're going to get some love from the American Legion, and looking forward to that Veterans Day performance. Can't wait to see it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. And joining us now is Sam Brooks. And Sam, you are the supervisor for Future Ready. Future Ready.
Yeah.
You're getting kids ready for their future.
Basically, yeah. You know, it used to be personalized learning supervisor.
Okay.
And then, you know, we went through a phase that students they would choose to be college or career ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we used to say college and career ready, but when you talk to a student going into high school, they hear college or career.
Right.
And so what we really wanted to start doing was getting them to realize whatever classes you need to take, whatever path you need to get on, the courses are there for you. Putnam County's got a lot of offerings for students, and a lot of our students and families don't realize that, because that's kind of all they know. And so Future Ready, we feel like the umbrella of Future Ready gives them the opportunity to realize all of the options are there for them for whatever their future needs to be in their mind.
Yeah.
And that can change as
Right.
they go through high school and even college, but that kind of gave us an opportunity to throw out the term something to get them thinking about their future instead of either or.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what came about. And also Vital, you know, we used to kind of go by the term Vital, which used to be our program name.
Right.
But now it's a school.
Yeah.
And so we had to have a separation, and Vital stands for Virtual Instruction to Accentuate Learning. And our program started doing so many different things, buddy, that Future Ready umbrella at the time when we kind of thought of the term, that goes back to Jerry Boyd. But the CTE person came in, was Jeff Slagle at that time, and he actually was under my supervision at that time. And that kind of gave us the opportunity to mesh what was going on in CTE and kind of learn from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because CTE was, you know, as far as competency-based learning, that's what CTE does.
Right.
And so that gave the opportunity for our program to kind of learn a little bit more about CTE, and CTE to learn a little bit more about Vital and what we did.
Well, tell us about the middle college, because I know that's been the buzz. That's been the big thing that's been happening in education. We had the ribbon cutting over at Vol State, and you got the first cohort, and it seems like things are off to a great start.
It is. That's something that we really have been working on for, almost 7 years now. And
wow.
the campus over at Vol State used to be Nashville State.
Right.
And they went through a change and transition, and now actually, you know, Tennessee Tech's on campus, and TCAT from Livingston's on campus, and also Vol State. So when they started that transition, it kind of derailed us a little bit from the thought process of middle college. And then as that happened, dual enrollment across Putnam County continued to grow.
Right.
And so we have a lot of students taking full advantage of dual enrollment, you know, some to the point to where they were getting their associate's degree by the time they graduate high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so the opportunity and the courses were there for them to do that.
Yeah.
But middle college gives them the opportunity to pull all that in together and really get some more help from Vol State and from the Putnam County school system.
Right.
To be able to create that pathway for the students as they go through high school. And so middle college is really for those students who want to graduate with an associate degree, or at least as much work as they possibly can going into college.
Well, you know, it's hard to imagine, because back when we were in school, I never thought of having an associate's degree and a diploma, a high school diploma at the same time when you're walking, for graduation.
No, and we're in similar age.
Yes.
We didn't even have dual enrollment
No.
at that time. So
if you took a college course your senior year, that was a big deal.
Few and far between
Yeah.
when I was there, and that's why I don't think the folks realize how lucky they are to have all the opportunities and options that we have in Putnam County,
Right.
and that being kind of one that sticks out, and a lot of excitement about finally getting that opportunity. We started with only 9 students, which I was very glad that, everything in the
And those
Future
are
Ready
those are
program.
all juniors in
Yes.
Putnam County school system at different high schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we had really 4 from Upperman, 4 from Monterey, and 1 actually from Cookeville High School.
Okay.
And people ask me, well, why is there so few from Cookeville High School? Cookeville High School already has a lot of options.
Yeah.
They've got the International Baccalaureate. They've got
Yeah.
all the AP classes that they have.
Right.
I do think it will continue to grow at
Mhm.
Cookeville High School, but really fortunate to start out small.
Yeah.
Everything we've done with the program, we try and start out very small,
Mhm.
and then learn what we're doing along the way, because you kind of building the airplane as you learn to fly it a lot of times with some of the things that we do, and just having the opportunity to work with those 9 students and learn along the way,
Right.
will give us the ability, and the best sale is word of mouth.
Yeah.
And so I think the students have been very successful so far, and very happy with what the decision that they made to get involved in middle college. So we're going to experience some growth in that, I'm sure, as time goes on.
And I know there was a lot of moving parts, because there's the Putnam County school system, and there's schools inside the Putnam County school system. There's Vol State, and it just seems like there's so many moving parts, but everybody has come together and collaborated together.
Yeah, exactly for the students.
Yeah.
We try and put the student at the every decision we make. We want to make sure we think of the student along the way, and I got to give credit, and all the things that you're seeing the Future Ready program do goes back to Jerry Boyd and Kathleen Earhart when they started the program. And vision is something that I respect others that they have.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like a worker bee, and I can kind of do what I'm told to do.
Sure.
But I got to give credit back to Jerry Boyd, and kind of having the vision to see what our program could be when it didn't exist anywhere else in the state of Tennessee.
Right.
And then Corby King has really jumped in there when he took over the job, and really supported our program. And you take a look at all the things that our program's doing, and middle college being an important one now, and then the entire dual enrollment program in Putnam County. It's something that not very many districts in Tennessee have.
Yeah. Well, now, how did you get involved in the role that you're in now?
Good question. So it goes back to, Mr. Boyd was down at Upperman High School at that time, and he hired me to be the football coach.
Right.
And, my plan and our thought process was I would go in there 4 or 5 years, hopefully get the program moving in the right direction. And then my children were coming up,
right.
and very interested in sports. And I knew at that time that there would be a point to where I was ready to get out of coaching and get involved into something else. I didn't know what at that time. But Mr. Boyd had moved over to the central office, and we had started dual enrollment down at Upperman High School, and it grew very quickly because we didn't have the opportunity for advanced placement classes or international baccalaureate. So that was the students' opportunity at UHS at that time to take higher level classes. And man, it grew. Within 2 years, we had 125 students taking full advantage of that. And then when I decided to get out of football, Mr. Boyd asked me to come over and take over this role at the Vital program at that time. And I think the biggest reason was to grow that dual enrollment opportunity here in Putnam County. And of course, I jumped at the opportunity, and that kind of became, when you coach for as long as I did, it's 24/7. It's all the time. And, I was very blessed to have something that I could throw that time into that was new, that was really didn't exist anywhere. And so I jumped into that, and that's kind of how I got into this role.
Yeah. Well, let's go all the way back to the beginning of Sam Brooks. And a lot of people don't know this, but if you're on social media, you'll know Sam Brooks and I have the exact same birthday, August 25th, 1967.
Yep.
That's a great day in history,
It's
isn't
a
it?
great day in history. Yeah, definitely.
It's celebrated highly every year.
By us, yeah. I don't know. The older we get, we don't seem to celebrate it as much.
No, not as much. Not as much. All right, so let's start from the very beginning. Were you born in Putnam County?
I was born in Overton County.
Okay.
Lived there for about 5 years. My whole family originated from Overton County.
Oh, really?
So, every weekend we would go back to my granny's house and have dinner and hang out there. And I grew up playing golf at the Hidden Valley Country Club
Is that
down
right?
there. And,
Yeah.
babysitting for me when I was growing up, even though my dad worked in Cookville, they would take me up to Hidden Valley Golf Course and drop me off in the mornings in the summer, and I would stay there and go to the pool, play golf.
Yeah.
Jack Crabtree, who ran the golf course at that time, probably got tired of seeing me around there. But they have the pool again now, but it went earlier on. It was a different, and the clubhouse is back up at the cart shed building now.
Yeah.
And just a great place to grow up as a kid. And then when we moved down to Putnam County, kind of the same thing. I started going out to Ironwood with Bobby Nichols.
Yeah.
And we moved out to East Lake subdivision. So I had the lake to fish. I would get dropped off in the day at Ironwood or Hidden Valley.
Right.
And man, what an awesome childhood.
Yeah, that is
I had.
awesome.
And, baseball, played Babe Ruth baseball.
Right.
That's where we kind of ran into each other for the first time.
Good story.
Yeah. And, just a sports family.
Right.
And growing up in Cookville and with Overton County roots and had that environment up there and that family up there to kind of lean on and get to know folks from up in Livingston.
Mm-hmm.
And then, down here in Cookville, as I've grown up in here, just, again, growing up on the lake out there, I had a canoe. I didn't have a canoe. My neighbor, Preston Lane, had a canoe, and he let me borrow it all the time. And man, just being able to fish and in the summer, and it just some of the things we did out there, jumping off the pump house into the lake and sliding down the
Listen,
dam.
I'm so glad social media wasn't around when we were alive. I'm
No
so
doubt.
glad.
No doubt.
So glad. Yeah. Well, where did you go to school?
Well, I went to Parkview first.
Okay.
I was a Rocket, and then we moved from there out to East Lake when I was in 5th grade. So that made me a Northeast Elementary Trojan at that time.
Okay.
And so after that, went to Cookville Junior High and then right into Cookville High School.
Yeah. And I know you played sports at Cookville High School, and that kind of gave you an opportunity to go to college.
It did. And I'll tell you, people ask me this all the time. I don't know what I would have done, buddy. I probably wasn't the best A student in school. I got by, definitely should have done a lot better, could have done a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But Jim Ragland had taken over the job at Tennessee Tech.
Right.
And, I played basketball in high school, played baseball in high school. Baseball was probably my best sport. And after our Babe Ruth competition that you and I played each other in back in, I guess it was 9th grade at that time.
Yeah.
I never played baseball another game again.
So Sam Brooks and I, we were playing in the same Babe Ruth state tournament as 15-year-olds in Tullahoma, Tennessee. I was playing for Hardin County. He was representing Cookville. Our teams never played, but we were still there at the same time.
Yeah, and
it is a small world.
We figured that out
a
while later, but
yeah,
interesting. And I think football I was very small.
Yeah.
About 5'9", 135 pounds at the time when I graduated high school.
Wow.
Really small, but luckily I was fast.
Yeah.
And played for Ken Honey at Cookville High School and was a tailback. And the year, my senior year, Jim Ragland was actually the what do you call it, the financial person at Tennessee Tech.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And all the things he did with the fishing tournament and the golf tournament and all of that. And then he had a prior background of being a college football coach, and Gary Darnell, who recruited me, was on his way out, and Jim Ragland was on his way in. And so Jim Ragland signed me to scholarship at Tennessee Tech, and the rest kind of is history. That was what got me into college, and I figured out I wanted to be a coach, an educator somewhere along the way. Great influences in my life along the way have been teachers and coaches that I've grown up with, and what better to be than an educator. And so luckily Coach Ragland took a chance on me. I ended up having 5 scholarship offers at that time, and it was just a no-brainer to come and play for Jim Ragland at Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best decisions that I made looking back now. But but again, it shows you what sports does for some kids.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids are very high academic and really good athletes, and I was not so high academic and did fairly well in the sports, and that gave me that opportunity.
Right.
And I'm just very blessed, that I had that. Being my size, nowadays, the way things go in recruiting, I don't know if a kid like me ever gets a chance.
Sure.
Because, it's about body types and speed and, just measurements.
Yeah.
And at that time, it wasn't so much about that. They could still measure the heart,
yes,
game film and kind of see what a kid was made of through that.
Yeah. So what was your first job out of college?
Oh, gosh. Well, probably reffing basketball camps at Tennessee Tech. There's a story with Frank Harrell. He was up in the box at the game at Tech on Saturday. But, Frank, we were out playing on the basketball goals, and Frank drove by in his truck, and they were setting up Tech for the basketball camp.
Right.
And me, a guy I played basketball with, I used to could jump really high, and me and Terry Rich were out dunking on the basketball goals outside. And Frank drove by and saw it. Terry was hanging on a rim about that time, and Frank didn't like that.
Yeah.
So I heard a few words I never heard before, and the last thing Frank said before he got in his truck, "And I know your daddy." And so I just dreaded going home that day. But that started a relationship with Coach Harrell, and he got me into reffing over there at Tennessee Tech, and then I also worked at Papa John's delivering pizza.
Okay.
John Owen, who owned Papa John's Papa G's at that time, signed for my first truck when I bought a truck. He was my co-signer, which was kind of odd. I mean, he stuck his neck out for me a little bit, but good days, good memories there.
Yeah. So how did you get into education?
Well, the influences, the first one that comes to mind is Vertus Duff.
Mm-hmm.
I got to work with Vertus, and he was my
That's
coach in high school, and hard-nosed coach, traditional coach, and got to know him very well. My sister played basketball for him, so I kind of knew him before I got in to Cookville High School. And then, Jake Libby, Bill Rasman, Ken Honey, I'm on David Little.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss a few, I'm sure, but all of them were huge influences in my life, as well as some of the teachers. And I always say this, and I've said it on social media forever, but Brenda Huffine was my favorite teacher.
Yeah.
At that time, and really because she was more than a teacher, she was a mother figure.
Right.
Got me to class on time, wasn't a big fan of English, but through her I was, and got me interested in taking pride in writing and what I did in the classroom. And for me, that was pivotal.
Yeah.
At that time, as a sophomore who cared more about sports than anything, and didn't realize that you had to have academics along with the sports, and so she helped me to realize that, and I owe a lot to her. She doesn't probably know how much, she made an influence on me at that time, because you have to take care of your books along the way.
Right.
And I didn't realize at that time.
Great to have an influence like that. So your first teaching job in Putnam County was where?
Well, I went to Smith County first.
Okay.
I was the head Smith County junior high football coach down there, and also helped with the high school. Pat Dyer hired me. I was actually at team camp over at Tennessee Tech reffing a game after I had finished football and was fixing to graduate. And one of the coaches down at Smith County that was coaching basketball there had said, "Hey, we got a job open at Smith County." I called the superintendent, and they're waiting for you down there.
Really? Wasn't Ronnie Scudder, was it?
No, it wasn't Scudder. I got to know Ronnie, though. I got to know Ronnie. Dirk Ash is who it was at that time. And I had a tank top on and a pair of shorts, and I said, I've got to go get ready. I can't go down there. He said, "No, they don't care about that. They just they know who you are. Just go down there and they want to interview you. They've got a job open." So I jumped in my car and drove down to Smith County. And Pat Dyer was a pretty intimidating dude, and Roger Lewis was the principal down there at that time, pretty intimidating dude.
Right.
And here I walk in shorts and a tank
top.
top and for an interview. And anyway, got hired for the job and worked there for a year. And one of the things the first year we beat a team they hadn't beat apparently in a while in football down there, and it seemed to be very special to them. And I didn't realize
how big it
rivalry.
Was. Yeah.
Football's huge.
Yeah.
Tradition's huge down at Smith County. So I got to see a little bit of a smaller school and what tradition's all about.
Yeah. And where'd you go from there?
I came to Cookville for Ron Chambers. He had taken over the job and became his offensive coordinator, and we were lucky enough and had a real good team in 1993, probably the most talented football team that I've coached. And they were going from Jake Libby, who, was one of my favorite coaches too, to Ron Chambers. And the change was tough on that senior class. We had a senior-laden class. Gosh, I could go through the names, but DeJuan Farrell was the one that sticks out in my mind. DeJuan ran about a really good 4.4, an easy 4.4.
Wow.
We clocked him at a 4.39 one time. He ended up going to ETSU, but had a really good team that year, and we ended up 7-4, I believe. Had a good season. Then we went through a lull a little bit and got to 96, and that was the first time Cookeville High School had ever made the current playoffs.
Right.
And that was Adam Chambers, a quarterback, Brian Chambers, Michael Bowen, some of the names. Really, really talented football team, both offense and defense, and got in the playoffs, faced Riverdale.
Yeah.
Back during Gary Rankin's time frame. And, Adam Chambers got hit so hard. I think he got a concussion. He got hit so hard he was calling junior high plays. But that was a great experience getting back to Cookeville. And biology, I taught biology at that time and really enjoyed that. We had the what do they call them, the classrooms outside, the portables.
Yeah.
I was in one of the portables. Actually, was really nice.
Yeah.
So kind of got to work with some of my old teachers, which was really weird. But again, a blessing for everything to fall into place the way it did.
Yeah. And then I know you coached some golf at Cookeville High School, won a state championship there.
Interesting. I needed a break. Ron was leaving, and Jerry Joslin came in. And,
right.
I just felt like it was a time for me to take a quick break. And so I got out of football for a little while and spent 3 years in golf. And first year took over a very talented girls program. They just needed a little bit of organization. They had the talent. But we did grow that program. We went from 3 players to 9 players.
Yeah. I
was always big on opportunities for those kids because you know how, athletics and your abilities can change with practice.
Right.
And I wanted to give the students, the girls, as many opportunities as they could. And so we went through tryouts and put 9 kids on the team, and went through a year where I guess we lost one tournament, went 81-3, and that tournament was where we lost the 3 losses that we had, but made it to the state championship, went through a playoff, and it was 3-person playoff everybody had to play, and all the scores counted. And Laura Haslin, our best player, made about a 4 or 5 foot putt, which they used to get mad at me all the time because before I let them go home, we'd have to practice 53 foot putts every day, every time. And she made it. The confidence was there, and she knocked it in, and we became state champs. And then I took over the boys team after that and got Bob Cumbie to come and help me.
Right.
And we had a really good time, made it to the state tournament then. First time in a while that they had done that.
Yeah, went to Pickwick.
Yeah, Pickwick. Oh, yeah. I still remember the smell down. I think they had a company there, an ink company there.
It's called the Paper Mill.
Paper Mill,
yes.
yeah. And that
like
was
my old stomping ground.
Kind of unique.
Yes, it stinks.
But, it stinks. Yeah, I wasn't going to say that. Thank you. It did. You kind of got used to it, though.
Yeah,
we were there 3 or 4 days, and
yeah.
It's really weird. We got used to it and didn't notice it anymore.
Not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad.
Yeah.
At first, it's pretty bad.
It's real bad. They got back into football at Upperman and then pretty much wrapped up the coaching. But it seems like you have always had multiple things going on, because then you kind of got into the broadcasting aspect and was hosted your own show, and you're now doing Tennessee Tech stuff, so still involved in the sports.
It's pretty unique. I mean, one of the first things, and you don't know, that got me interested in that, you used to interview me when I was coaching, and I thought it was pretty cool, how you were able to do that, and so you were an influence for me, and something I didn't realize I was going to get into, but I did after I got out of football. There were some opportunities. People would call and say, hey, we're doing this or doing that. Would you want to do it?
Right.
And I got involved in that and ended up being a radio show out at Stonecom, a sports radio show, which I really enjoyed. I've kind of taken a break from that right now.
Sure. And
then also WCTE, the times we worked together a couple of times. And then now ESPN Plus with Tennessee Tech football.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed that, and I want to stay busy. My wife gets on me all the time about being a little bit too busy because I mow a couple yards, and I kind of do a DJ business on the side, very minimally. But I like moving, going, and staying busy and being active.
Yeah. That's great. So when you look at, we'll get back into the vital aspect of it. What do you see vital looking like in, say, 5 years from now?
Man, I tell you, adding the school, and we were lucky enough to hire Shannon Pirtle as the principal. I used to be the supervisor and the principal all in one. And then when we went to the school aspect, and we started out in 3rd through 12th grade, and we've knocked that back now 5th through 12th grade.
Yeah.
We actually have a homeschool that we operate that is now kindergarten through 4th grade.
Okay.
So virtual options for students of Putnam County are available if that's what suits them, and that's what's best for them. Then we can do that. But for future, I think dual enrollment probably is the growth area. You know, we've been lucky enough to be able to do some district integrations with Putnam County also, which is the personalized learning, which is working with all of the schools in Putnam County to push out opportunities to individualize instruction for students in regular classrooms, and not necessarily have a whole lot to do with technology. Technology plays a role in that, but it's about being aware of what interests that the students on an individual level have, and using that interest to grow them in their classroom instruction. And that's been really cool. And then we started integration of responsive practices for the whole district administrators. We started with supervisors that first year, and what that is really, Buddy's creating a framework for communication from top down. So information comes to Mr. King, how does he get it to the teacher level in a responsive way? And you know, you've really been instrumental in that, in creating the message that you send out with Mr. King every Friday that really educates the district, the parents, all the community on what's going on in the Putnam County school system, and that's been great. Yeah,
got to have some communication.
Got to.
Sam Bam Brooks, our paths have been crossing since we were 15 years old, and here we are.
Long time.
Yes, a lot of golf and a lot of fun, and looking forward to playing some pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball. Picked that up lately. I can't wait to.
It's the craze. It's what all of us old people do. We play pickleball.
You know, I heard about it for a while, and I was like, you know. And then I played it.
Once you start playing, I mean, it gets in your blood.
It really does. It does.
Anything else, man?
No, just appreciate having you here, and it's good to sit down and talk with you a little bit and kind of go back through the times. I think one of the times I got to know you better was during the Cookville Cup. You know, I got to play for you. You were a coach at the Cookville Cup for a long time, and
man. Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
We had some good times.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Sam Brooks, appreciate you being with us, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
All right.
And that's going to do it for this week. Be sure to check out our Facebook and our Instagram pages for all the happenings that's going on in the Putnam County school system. Until next week, have a great week and God bless.